Hey J team, it's your boy Justin coming at ya, and I got a new video for you guys. So what I have here, never opened, brand new, is a brand new Xbox One X. So we're gonna do an unboxing on it, and then we're gonna take the system apart. Then we're gonna take it right down to the main board, take our X clamp off, take the heat sink off, replace the thermal compound, because when you buy these things brand new, they're pretty well right out of the box going to start overheating. We're going to have issues, and the console's not going to want to work correctly. So here's what's happening. So we're opening this up. We're doing a look over on the console, see what it looks like. I've returned one of these already, and this is the exchange one. Never opened, brand new. As you can see, there's the seal's right there, still sealed up, never cut. Same with the ones in the bottom. This is the 1 TB version. The ones that had real bad problems, which they took off shelves now, is the Project Scorpio edition 1 TB Xbox One X's. But this version of the regular Xbox One X has been having overheating issues too, with almost every Xbox One X. So this video is going to show you how to, it's going to show you the unbox, but then I'm going to show you how to take this thing right apart. I'm going to show you how to properly replace the CPU compound with thermal paste. You want to use this kind of thermal paste. It's very good price stuff. It's called TG7. Either use this silver grease or use Arctic number silver 5, but try not to use anything else than that, because any other grease isn't going to do the perfect heat transfer. So before I get into this, if you're new to the channel, subscribe. If you like the video, hit the thumbs up. Also, turn on notifications by clicking on the bell down below. And I hope you guys enjoy this video. So let's cut the seals to the box here and open it up. Put it nicely on there. I want to be gentle with the box because I want to keep the box as nice as possible. Oh, and also this is not under warranty with the retail store or Microsoft, even though this is brand new. I did not buy the extended. And even if it was under warranty with Microsoft, I don't trust Microsoft, so I wouldn't have sent it out to them anyway, even if there was a warranty with them. But the retail store warranty, I definitely utilized, and I utilized it for its last time. So there is absolute no warranty on this box. So anyway, so we got the lid open. So I'm going to close that like that. I'm going to show you that's what it looks like so far. So what we got here when I first open up our box, I got our, what looks like our manual. Yeah, Xbox, we got our one page that says, I'll show you guys this. This will be an entire, so, might as well take that right out. Box is getting in the way a little bit. We got our way to set up our Xbox, so it has like all the connections and stuff. So that's what that one is all about. This one shows how to share the controllers and how to share your games or whatever it is, like Xbox Live. And this is like a game pass. Oh, it's upside down, I think. A game pass that you can purchase, or you can, and then on the back is all the different kind of controllers you can get. Really cool looking controllers. You can actually customize your own controllers. And I think that's what that's saying right there, is where you can purchase the nice custom remotes. Now those remotes aren't cheap. Normally these Xbox One remotes, the regular ones, would cost like $80 with tax. Those special edition ones can cost all the way up to $400. Okay, so this looks like the plain standard unboxing now. So what we got here, the console's going to be the last that I unbox. Our next thing here is this guy. That's going to hold our power cable, HDMI, controller. I'm going to just put this down out of the way because that's the last. Nice and gently. So all I do is I open up this little tab right here, and right off the bat, Xbox One X, HDMI. It's a cool HDMI cable. You have this cool foam thing that goes over the controller to protect it. There's another piece of paper here, probably a manual or something like that. Yeah, it's like a product. Yeah, it's like this Microsoft booklet. Not too exciting. That's just a regular booklet. What's exciting is what's in this packaging. We have our controller, which should come with brand new, oh, I can feel them, brand new batteries. Brand new batteries are definitely still there, are definitely there. Obviously they're still there because this is brand new, right? So as you can see, Microsoft's nice enough to give us Duracells, and they're factory sealed, never opened, they're brand new. And right here, it's our nice brand new Xbox One remote, so you guys can have a good look at it. Put that off to the side here, gently. Put this away. I always keep the nice foam thing, so if I repackage up the system, everything that it came with is actually there, so I don't, we'll just open up this pouch, which is going to hold the power cord. So the thing I like about the new systems is there's no big power brick. There's just this guy. Nice and simple, right? Power supply is built into the console. So, the moment we've been waiting for, this is the exciting part. I'm just going to get these foam things off the side for us. This is the exciting part, you guys. It's a very exciting part. Xbox One X console. So they have it nicely foam wrapped, so the console itself doesn't end up getting marked up or damaged. So I'm very, very gently going to open up this thing and unfold it. I'm going to get a hold of my Xbox One X, and I'm going to start pulling down on this. It should, if I'm gentle enough, just slide right out without having to undo that other piece of tape. There we go. And here's the Xbox One. So this one was manufactured the 30th of October 2017. Looks like we have a little bit of a little fuzzy from the from that styrofoam. It just gently, there we go. That little thing on the Q-tip there, I don't know if you can see it. It's right there falling off. It was like right on the end there was a piece of foam. Oh, I couldn't pull it off. There, I got it. Got it off the Q-tip. Alright, so to start with, I don't know if you guys are going to be able to see this, but on camera there, yeah, you can see it. Right there is our little warranty sticker. Behind that sticker is a security bit screw that looks somewhat like this screw right there. Now those screws have a little pin in the middle of them, so you can't just put a regular Torx screwdriver in there and undo it. I'm pretty sure, or am I wrong? guys, scrap that idea. You can actually unscrew it with the regular Torx. I was looking at it wrong. Here I thought it was like, let me try here. Where is, see, I have this screwdriver that, as you can see, it has a hole in the middle of it. That's a security bit. But I still recommend using a security bit. So the security bit fit in there. It's nicely letting me undo the screw, and I'll show you the screw once I get it out. Now the Xbox One X, oh sorry guys, there we go. Where's that piece that's bothering me? That's, okay. You guys, I hope you guys can see that fairly good. I'll move some stuff over just a little bit here so we can get the Xbox more in your guys' view so you can see it better. There we are. So I'll finish taking this one screw out. Now it is actually, congrats Microsoft to this one, they made it very easy to open the system up without having to pry anything, because there's no prying involved except for when you take off the X clamp, and even that there's no prying involved. So I have to hand it down to Microsoft for that. But what I don't hand down to Microsoft, and I try to tell every customer and explain to every Xbox person that wants to upgrade to the X, when you buy the system, yes, you can turn it on, yes, it'll boot, but not for long, because what's going to happen is it's going to overheat, it's going to get to the point where it's going to start shutting itself off on its own, or it's going to get bricked. When it bricks, that doesn't mean that the system's done for. It means it's overheating and it needs new thermal compound. So this is the screw. Trying to get you guys the best. There we go. So there's no pin in the middle of the screw. I was wrong. I'm just going to put that screw right in your guys' view there. Hey. My goodness, this is making it hard. You know what? The screws aren't what's important. So, the important part is where we get into the system and you guys get to see what it looks like in there. So I have a little fine flathead right here, a little tiny one. I'm going to use that to get underneath our warranty seal. So I'm going to show you our warranty seal. So right here, that is the warranty seal. As you can see, there's pieces of black sticker missing. It's officially voided from the warranty I've never had. I'm going to keep the sticker so I can make the console look nice. So I'm going to actually stick that sticker on my isopropyl alcohol bottle so it just stays there. And behind it, I'm going to show you on camera here so you can see it. Behind it right there, there's another screw. Same kind of screwdriver, a Torx 10-bit T10. It doesn't have to be security bit. Everybody that's saying, oh, you need a security bit screwdriver, no you don't. You just need a regular Torx. It doesn't have to be this one with the little hole in the middle. It can be just a regular T10 Torx bit. Okay. Guaranteed. It's just nice to have the security bit. I'm trying to hold this from sliding forward. That's how nice these things come apart. There's a trick to get these lids back on, and that's something I will explain and show you in a bit. So I got those two screws up. So when you take the front off, it's very easy. You just give a gentle, not even a hard force, and as you're seeing there, that's pretty much it. It lifts up. After you lift it up, you lift this side up here. You have to pull it sort of out of its rail a little bit. not too hard. I'm going to try sliding this a little bit more forward, and as you slide it forward a little bit, that just lifts up. Keep lifting up, keep lifting up, keep lifting up. Push down just a little bit, and just like that, there's our piece. And if I show you on the side, as you can see, there's a little rail right there. Oh yeah, and this little sticker thing, I'm gonna take that off so it's nice and clean like that. This is just like a sticker that says, oh, don't touch the laser lens. Well, who's gonna touch the laser lens anyway? Because guess what? The laser is inside the console, so how do you touch the laser lens when it's in the console? Or they might also be saying, don't put your disc in upside down. Well, again, it's pretty easy putting a disc in a console. You know, you know which way you're putting it. Anyway, I'm gonna put this up over here. It'll be off camera. Yeah. So now, we're down to the fun part of our Xbox One X. So as you can see here, we got our RF module. So we got our little sensor here. Now this sensor goes to the eject button and your VR sensor. If I lift it up and bring it to our side here, and right here is our wireless internet circuit. Okay, so I'm going to start with taking our wireless internet circuit off, and yes, I'm setting the console down as I'm working on it. Alright, just a little bit more. There we go. So this has never been started up, it's never been updated or nothing, it's just right out of the box and opened up, right off the bat. So for this next set of screws, lots of people are saying, oh, it's Torx 9. No, it's not. When you I've taken apart systems all the way back to the Xbox 360. The X-clamp heatsink screws and the ones for the RF module and the ones for the wireless network on any Xbox except for the original Xbox. From Xbox 360 to the Xbox One X, the X-clamp and RF module and wireless networking cards are always T8, not T9, T8 screwdrivers. See on there, I don't know if you guys see that very easily. See if the camera will focus in on it, come on. I don't know if you guys can see the T8 there, hopefully you can. Well, all I'm going to do, I decide first I'm going to take it. Fits really nicely, comes out really easily. T9 you'd have a little harder, it'd be a little harder getting in there. So we have we have this little black screw. I'm going to put this off to the side. Then we have two silver screws. The two silver screws are the same. The little black one is a different length. So we want to make sure, I'm going to have a look at our length of this screw. I'm pretty certain that we're going to have, from what I'm looking at here, they're going to be, they're definitely longer. As you can see, it's a longer screw. So we're not going to mess that up in any way, but I keep them in the right order. So silver, silver, black. And I'm very gentle. I'm not being rough on these screws. I'm not being rough on the console. I'm barely even pushing on the screw. I'm just very gently. I got the other one out. And just like a USB, you just wiggle on it gently and it should just slide right out. I congrats Microsoft on this one. They did a good job here. See that metal? That they made this so, and there's a foam here, so it won't mess up the signal. They did a good job right here. They definitely did what they were supposed to do on that. So now, these Xbox Ones are heavy. The Xbox One X, they're about 10 pounds. And why is because of all the high-tech technology that's in here. Now, probably lots of you are wondering, is the liquid vapor chamber heatsink actually liquid? Now, how it works is inside the liquid vapor heatsink, the liquid vapor chamber, they vacuum sealed, Microsoft vacuum sealed distilled water. I'm pretty sure it's distilled water, but they filled up with water and then vacuum sealed it closed. So there is water in there. Over time of the system being ran for whatever amount of years, that water can slowly evaporate and disappear. And once that happens, then your console starts to overheat, and that's when you want to replace that heatsink with a new one. But usually that water won't evaporate for out of those heatsinks probably for like, well, a good 6 years, 5, let's say 5 to 7 years before that water evaporates. So you get a good length of time out of your system before you would have to replace that. So you might even get longer. You might get 8 years out of it before the water evaporates. And the vacuum seal, well, the vacuum seal won't go, but the water can evaporate over time. But usually that's after 6 to 7 years. Okay, so these screws, they're brass, and they're all the same. So I'm being as gentle as I possibly can be with this Xbox One X, because I didn't want to harm the system. All I'm doing, now, I watched another channel, and this guy did, what is that called? A cool heat transfer cooling mod. So what it is it's called a thermal image, and so you replace the CPU grease. There's a bunch of wiring that you gotta do, and no, it's not gonna short anything out, or it doesn't involve hot wiring, nothing. It's all just proper professional. Solder one connector in, plug the connector into the connector, solder the connector that solders to the board, and get your other little cable, plug it into the connector, and then you solder a wire, one to where one of the fan leads is, another one to the hard drive power. And then, of course, those power cable that you unplug plugs back into the connector for the hard drive and the connector for the fan. So that's also going to make it where you get the system cooling down even more than what the systems usually will heat up is around 62 degrees to 69 degrees. When you're done doing this mod, it'll be cooling all the way down to 32 degrees to 35 degrees. And you're getting more frames per second, the system will be faster, better graphics, better everything. It's going to be a huge performance change. It'll be a lot better. It'll be what it should have. It'll be about 10 times better than what it was out of the box, like freshly opened out of the box, brand new. So this one is freshly opened out of the box, brand new. But all I'm doing here is replacing the CPU grease and putting it back together and running it. Yeah. So what I did there is I disconnected the little ribbon cable that was here. There's a little flap, a little white flap that with your finger you just push downwards like this, and it just clicks, and then the cable just unplugs nicely. Go. So a little circuit board with this RF module. Okay, so now is where our fun part comes. So I will, let's see if I can lift this up for you guys. Yep. Because I want to show you all the screws. So there's all of these screws on this side. There's brass, there's aluminum, and then the black heatsink screws. Now, one thing, I'm going to put it the other way now. One thing with Microsoft that they need to stop doing is using X clamps in these systems. Because what happens with X clamps? They lose their tension, and when they lose their tension, the heatsink won't be evened out correctly, and you can end up with an overheating problem, and your system can completely crash. So, I'm going to remove all of these heatsink screws. There we go. There's one. You never ever over tighten these screws. You'll strip them out or break heads off. Or you can just destroy the screwdriver that you're using too. I can almost 100% guarantee you guys that the grease that's in here is already crusty and dried out and hard. It's not supposed to be dried out and hard and crusty. It's supposed to be a liquid. The stuff in here, it's supposed to be identical to this. Right now in there, when I remove the heatsink, it should be a liquid like what's in here. It should not be a solid. CPU grease is never meant to be a solid, it's meant to be a liquid. And it's supposed to stay a liquid until the CPU grease completely wears out and needs to be replaced. Well, I'll show you guys when I open it. This has never been started up. It's brand new out of the box. I showed you guys the unboxing at the beginning of the video where I cut the seal to the box open and unboxed all the stuff, and then we unwrapped the console, and I took the warranty seal off and took those two screws out. So yeah, this is the first time this is ever being opened. It hasn't even been, plugged in and turned on yet. But there's a reason for that. I don't want to short it out, and it will short out due to the overheating issue that these Xbox One X's are having. Now, is it guaranteed that every single Xbox One in the world, like whatever millions are made out there, does that mean that not a single one is going to actually be able to stay on and do gaming and stuff? No, there will be that odd one that will work. It'll still run fairly loud, but it will work. Now, you're probably wondering, is it better to have your console standing upright or flat? If you have it flat, more chance of it overheating. You have it upright and standing, a lesser chance of overheating. But I highly recommend getting the stand for the Xbox One X if you're going to have it standing vertical like that, because there is ventilation on the bottom where the system sits, and if that's covered up, the air, cool air, fresh air comes in from the sides, and then the hot air radiates out the back. It blows out the back. So you need the sides to be exposed to the nice fresh air coming in. So if that's not coming in, well, your system's probably going to most likely overheat. So yeah, I'm going to take all these little brass screws out. So I'm going to first take out my hard drive screws. I'm going to take every single screw out. Now on the other side of the chassis, there's going to be two more screws, and they are different lengths, and you do want to keep them in order. Those ones. I was taking apart so many Xboxes before the Xbox One X that I just know what I'm doing. I know which screws are which. Well, most of them. Just by looking at the screws, you guys. There's a few that I didn't know that this one had in it, which were two different lengths. I was kind of used to the RF module having the same length screws, and then the wireless one having different screws. And how do I know all this? Is because of that Xbox One S. I've had one of those apart, and it's a similar layout. Just the aluminum chassis or steel chassis is just a slight bit different. Besides that, and the electronics, of course, are a little bit different from what I'm getting. Because I've watched a few YouTube videos on how to dismantle one of these, so I wouldn't destroy the system opening it, And what I mean by destroying the system opening is marking up the case and making it look bad. So when I found out how easy it was to open these, I thought, oh, perfect. Once I get the Exchange console, I can, open it without putting a single scratch or anything on it. So, let me flip this up again. Right here, there's this little connector with our 2 screws. This is an actual connector. It's not just a regular plate. This, you get your fingernail, go underneath, and pull it from the sides, and nice and easily pulls up. This connector right here is your USB port for the front of your USB on your Xbox One, okay? So you don't want to damage that. That's important. Unless you don't care about having no USB in the front. But if you do care about that, don't be rough with that connector. There we go. So now I got some more screws to take out. Setting that one down, that's a T8 and T10. I'm going to show you one of the main chassis, like case screws. And yes, they're in there pretty nice and tight. That's a good thing. That's the way they're manufactured in there. And that's the way they're going to go back in. So I'll show you a case screw. This real long screw here is a case screw. Can't get those ones wrong. Take our case screws out. Come sideways here. So yeah, it's like exciting, like watching the video of these being dismantled and how easy it is to actually open them up and how tidy it is from the inside. And knowing that Microsoft went out of their way to make it easier for their customers to be able to fix the systems themselves. If, perhaps your warranty or whatever it is voided and you got the system when it released in 2017, by now that warranty's gone because you only have a 1 year with Microsoft. But usually you have to buy that 1 year warranty. You only get like 6 months or something like that, or whatever it is. Maybe they do include the 1 year for free. I don't know if that's still the case with Microsoft, but don't trust Microsoft. You won't be getting your same system back. It'll be someone else's, and most likely it won't work. So you want to just repair it yourself if you can, or take it to a local shop to get them to repair it. Or there's always me. You can send it to me and I can look at it. So I'm being gentle with it, not to harm anything. I'd be more than amazed if I opened this up and the CPU grease was actual liquid. I'd be more than impressed if that was the case, but I can 100% guarantee you the grease is going to be a solid in this Xbox. Because there's several reports of these systems not working. They're overheating, they're having wireless card issues, they're having wired internet issues, they're having Blu-ray drive issues, they're having the hard drives are clicking and not loading, or just plain old not able to update, even though the internet's connected, or something not working. The APU's overheated, the VRAM is overheated, just something. But the main issue that's been reporting is these guys overheating and running very loud and shutting themselves down. Now, the way these are designed is they shut themselves down to prevent extreme ventilation. So pretty much the system shutting down automatically shuts down before the APU or whatever overheats, can go too far to cause permanent damage. So that gives you a bit of a chance to be able to open it and repair it before it really, really has issues. Okay, one more of these short screws and one more of the case screws to take out. And then we can take this thing out of its chassis, or out of the case. Special way of putting it back in the case, by the way, the upper portion of it, or sorry, bottom portion of the case, not upper portion. I'm still used to the Xbox One S. I'm been dismantling more of those. So when you open this up, you don't lift it from the front of the console, you lift it from the back here. So lift it up, get my finger underneath there, lift it up from this side, and it should nice and easily, as you can see, it's coming up. Still lift, oop, there we go. And there we have it. Console is removed from the chassis. Right there you can see the little circuit board, that's our USB port. I'm going to put this back down, but before I put it back down, let's flip it this other way, and I'm going to flip it up and show you guys that there's two more screws. And I'll point to you, screw number 1 is here, and screw number 1 and screw number 2. Might be hard to see on camera, but they're right there. You guys just can see there's one there and one there. Take those out, and we're in business. We can open this up. So now I'll put this off to the side. Be off camera just for a few seconds here. I have too much fun, opening up new technology when it's having problems and trying to solve those issues. But I also have more fun when I check out other channels to see what other people are doing to solve these issues. So when I found out that this one guy knowed how to do a successful thermal image cooling mod, then I thought, hey, I want to look into that and see how easy it is. And it's very easy. You just need to have a little bit of money, about $30, and you go and buy those little connectors. Oh yeah, remember how I told you those screws are 2 different lengths? Here's what number 1 looks like. It's a T10 screw, and there's what that other one looks like. So you want to keep them on the right sides. And now let's lift up the body, the upper case. I'm also going to put this off to the side once I open this up. When they lifted it up, they lifted it pretty much straight up. Wow, that's on there nice. It's coming, but there we go. Put that down a little bit and give it a little wiggle back and forth. Okay. From what I followed on his video, this should lift right up. Did he take that ever off? I don't think he took this piece off, but I know it comes off. There we go, I got it. It's lifting up. Just try not to deform any of this nice foam here, because that vacuum seals, well, not vacuums, but it just seals up our piece. Okay, there we go. So this is what this looks like. Inside there. So I'm going to put this off the side. Ooh, that's exactly the same as what that guy showed after he removed it. Alright. So it's pretty standard, pretty simple. I'm impressed how big the friggin' fan is. It's huge. They really went out of their way to make sure this thing got cooled down, even though they're overheating. Check out the inside of this thing. Look at the heat cooling fan here. It's a blower fan too. It blows the air through here, through this power supply, and then out the back. And there's our Blu-ray drive, 4K Blu-ray, power supply, fan. So let's start dismantling this console. Wow, that's impressive. Oh, are these labeled too? I can't see right here. Disk 03, power 02, fan 01. Oh, that's cool. So what they did here, okay, I gotta grant this to Microsoft. They have labeled every single part of this unit. So they have fan 01, I don't have enough light here to really see. Okay, fan 01, power 02, and disk 03. So as we open it up, more things occur. The hard drive will probably be hard drive 04. That's cool. And then vapor chamber will probably be vapor chamber 05. And then the logic board will be main board 06, and then X clamp 07 or something like that. That's pretty neat. Okay, they did something really, really good there. That's cool. That helps a lot of people out when they open these things up, so they know what they're doing. So you remove your drive. I'm going to show you here. You want to take your drive, you want to pull it away from the power supply a little bit, because the power supply has that clip on it, and you can't remove the power supply without actually pulling the drive a little bit away. So then the drive, just wiggle it a little bit. You could take the whole assembly out with the fan and everything. I just like to take, or try at least, to take apart everything, if I can. There we go. And that just peels off like so. This pulls out the side. Then our fan should, oh yeah, right. Don't forget about this. I didn't really forget about it. I'm so excited that sometimes when you're really excited, things can slip by, and yeah. That's pretty cool. Power 02, I like that. Disco 3, that's pretty cool. Then I just disconnect my connector. I'm just going to disconnect it from the drive directly. Do it the easy way. There's one. Disconnect the power from the drive. Okay. Oof, that's hard to get off. Okay, I see why that one guy used pliers to remove everything. The guy used, tech that I watched, used pliers to remove these connectors. I see why. You don't want to squeeze too hard, but you just gently do that. Yeah, there we go. Here's our ATA cable. And what's cool about our ATA, one end's black, other one's gray. The gray one's to the console, the black one's to the drive. So, put that off to the side. Here's our cool little 4K Blu-ray drive. So I'm going to put that off to the side here. Push this over here. Yeah, so now I want to see what they numbered our hard drive. Hard drive 04. That's pretty cool. I think I can just put my finger down on the board gently and wiggle that. There we go. That wasn't hard to do. And because I can grab it fairly easily, I can just wiggle it myself. Take it out. So there's our hard disk drive. Hard drive 04. So that's really something else. And I'm pretty sure on the board where that plugs in, it'll say HDD SATA, HDD power. See, they labeled everything so you know where you're playing. Did they put yet? DVD drive SATA and DVD drive power? Yeah, they did a really good job building this system. They labeled everything so the customer, I keep wanting to call customers consumers, which also works too, but the customers, oh, by the way, there's our DVD drive power, or Blu-ray drive power. They wanted to make this one a bit easier because, oh, nice. It has an Easter egg. It has the Master Chief riding the Scorpion. See, that is cool. And what lots of people don't know, that is a hack right there. The Master Chief riding the Scorpion, that's a hack. That is cool. So all Xbox One X's are going to have that, you know, because the Project Scorpio Edition is no different from the regular Xbox One X 1 terabyte, except for the top cover is gray. It says Project Scorpio in the front in green writing, and then the same thing down the middle of the controller. That's the only difference. Electronics, everything are exact the same. Okay? That's why these regular Xbox One X's are having a similar and same issue. Cool. Look at our fan. Look at that, you guys. There's the hole that blows into the power supply. Wow. Cool. Once again, I'll show you that once again. Give you a bit of a look at it. Okay. Cool. They've done an awesome job on building this and actually labeling everything. So it's going to be very hard to forget where things go because it says right on the board, like right where the, let's try to see, it's a little writing. It has a number 4 and fan power number 1. And what is the number right here for our fan? Fan 01. So yeah, they've done a top end of the line job of labeling everything so you know where you're plugging everything back into your Xbox One X. So this is its first time being teared down, not even set up. As at the beginning of the video, I showed cutting the seals to the box, unboxing everything, then pulling the little warranty sticker off of the back of the console, which, you know, would have been only good for Microsoft's warranty, which I don't utilize because of Microsoft sending back other people's consoles that don't work. So this is going to be a way how you properly fully service your system. So tear it down, put new grease in, put it back together. It's honestly really a standard high quality. What this is pretty much the same idea, maybe just a little more power than your average game PC. The only, you know, this is definitely Microsoft's real nice build. Oh yeah, and there's our power connector for our drive. Here's the power supply. Power supply 02. And on the board, where that goes. If I can see it. Oh, yeah. Yep, power O2. So it's really something else. I can see already, you guys, I can see a lot of thermal paste, like a lot of thermal pads. The thermal pads are looking pretty decent. Okay, so let me show you the inside of the console before I take the board out. Okay, so right here, we have our liquid cool vapor chamber with our nice aluminum heatsink fins mounted to the top. So as you can see, there's our heatsink fins there. Oh wow, there's a lot of good stuff in here, a lot of goodies. Some of the goodies will be being reused. So I want to make sure I'm doing this right. I think from what I watched them, it removes like this from the front. Yeah, it does. It removes from the front of the system. Yep, there we go. And then just slides back. Oh, wow. Huh. Okay. So, right here, just like in the videos, there's a thermal pad. So that connects our south bridge chip to the chassis here, allowing the heat to go through that, and this to work as a major heat sink. Hey, that's cool. I'll show you the south bridge chip. So our south bridge chip is this one that I'm pointing at right here. Okay, and there's that annoying X clamp that they continue to use. So I'm going to set our board down here. This board is reasonably real small. I'm going to just put this off to the side. Now you guys, I'm keeping everything in order so nothing gets mixed up. And it's hard to mix things up because they're all labeled. I have to hand it down to Microsoft. They actually did a really good job on this. The only thing they did not do a good job on is putting good CPU grease in here, and I'm going to show you what I'm talking about. Lift this up with my hand. All right. So, I'm looking at our board. Everything looks good. All right, X clamp removal time. So when you're removing an X clamp, right in here, in the front of these little holes, in the very front, there's a little gap where you can put a screwdriver, a flathead. You just put that in there and you just give it a little gentle twist, and you just work on it a little bit without any force. I can take my finger. There's that one X clamp released. This one right here. So it's nice and easy. I'm liking how easy they come off, because then you don't have to bend anything. This is really nice. And if it doesn't come off right away, you can put along a little bit on the side and just give it a little bit of a turn and a half, and then use your finger and gently pull up, and the whole X clamp wants to remove. There's our X clamp. Do not let the X clamp glide against the board. It will rip components off. And if you do that, well, those components are important and your Xbox most likely is not going to work. So the moment we've been waiting for, is the CPU grease in this going to be a liquid, or is it going to be a solid like all the other Xbox ones that I've seen on the YouTube videos being all dried out and all nasty and needing replacing? Okay. So, I want to see what they named this heatsink, what number it is. That's on there nice. What, they super glue the heck out of this thing, or is that the actual... That grease should not be that hard. Ooh, that is on there hard. I don't want to hurt the heat sink in any way. I'm not going to touch those fins. I'm just going to lift up on the copper portion of it. Oh, finally I released it. That did not sound good, you guys. Oh, that's not supposed to be like that. Oh my goodness, that's bad. That's really not. Ooh, one thing I am liking though, I'm liking our thermal pad right here. Here's what it looks like when it's not destroyed, all nicely on there. All our VRAM thermal pads. But our CPU grease here is hard as a friggin' rock. And I'm touching it, there is no moisture, you guys. It is 100% dry. See, if I would have turned this thing on without opening this up, this would already be fried. It would be done. It would be overheated. It wouldn't even have got through the update process. That is, yep. Gee. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to transfer these thermal pads back onto our VRAM, and before I do so, I'm just trying to treat this heatsink as good as possible. Pour it over here. I don't want to... Put these screws up over here. I can put our board over here and set down our heat sink. Well, way to go, Microsoft, for putting the worst CPU grease in these consoles. That's going to make a lot of customers upset, because that is rock hard. There's no way that can transfer heat to the vapor chamber. Like, that's bad. So, anyway, so I use my X-Acto blade, full length it, and there's a reason why I'm full lengthing it, so I can just get that whole piece up and then gently set it down onto where it belongs. So, trying to get this whole piece. I'm being super gentle, you guys. You don't want to wreck these thermal pads. They can be put back on if they get a little bit slightly damaged. But if you mangle the heck out of them, well, it's not going to transfer the heat entirely that great. So I might take a little bit of time doing this, but at least what I'm doing here is removing our thermal pad without damaging it. You see the whole thing moving on me there, so try to get that on there. I'm going to hold two of the spots so I can move this forward. Come on. Let me slide underneath that. The whole thing wants to do that. So once it's released, as you can see right here, I got the whole piece nicely off. So I can actually let that just fall on my hand. I can feel the nice moisture coming off of that. So what we're going to do is get a little flathead screwdriver, and we're going to Line this right up. That's on there perfectly. You can avoid getting this thermal pad touching the, it's not going to short them out, but if you can avoid having the thermal pads touch your transistors going along the one side. But let me show you what I've done here. Hopefully it doesn't fall off of where I had it. So I have that all along the side nicely where it belongs. So now, the easier part, the vapor chamber here. I'm just going to get a Q-tip. I'm going to clean where the whatever's left up onto the thermal pack left, because there will be a little bit left on there. I'm just going to clean the rest of that off in here, so it's all clean. And you want to clean that fairly good, but it doesn't have to be like super duper clean. It just has to be clean enough where, you know, you're not going to have any more of that old. So this time for new Q-tip. There's only a little bit on there, but sometimes it can move around on you as you're trying to clean it off of your heat sink. So I'm just clean that right up. Okay. So as you guys can see, I got this whole area here where that heat thermal pad used to be, all nice and clean. The thermal pad's now on the board where it belongs. So now all of those thermal pads going all the way around for our VRAM, I'm going to put those back on the VRAM. And then I can get to work getting rid of the silver grease that definitely won't transfer compound. See, that's a problem. They stress test these systems so far that they completely dry the heck out of this grease before it goes on out into store. And then once it is out into store, the customer buys a system that's pretty much faulty right out of the box. You might get 2 or 3 hours of play, maybe even 2 days, and the system will be done for. It'll be dead. But this is going to help you guys out on how to fix your system if something like that was to happen. So, using my X-Acto plate, being very careful because I don't want to scratch the heat sink. I'm just very gently going through, trying to get, if I can, trying to get this entire thermal pad. See? There's the whole thermal pad nicely off. So then I can lift it off of the, if I can, come on, get off of my X-Acto plate. Yeah, got it completely. So then you flip it up the correct order, the correct way, and I'm just looking at it to see which way it belongs. You want to get the right way, you guys. Lift up. Make sure you get the whole VRAM covered right up. One. And very carefully. If there's any kind of stuff left, you don't want to use the X-Acto knife too much. Then you can just take this, pull it with your hand. This is a microfiber cloth, and just wipe off the excess stuff off of where the thermal pad used to be. There's actually one of these pads. Is that just the way the pad is, or is that actually showing a sign of getting too hot? Oh no, that's just the way the pad is, thank goodness to that. Very slowly and very carefully work your way through trying to remove our pad. Oop. If it falls on the board where you don't want it, just very gently lift up. Don't pierce through it with your knife or whatever you're using to lift it up. But you do want to make sure that it's covering the whole VRAM chip. So when you put it together, you have a nicely cooling Xbox One X. Now in another video is where when I get the money and get the stuff for the thermal image mod that I'm going to do down the road, then I'll bring up that video and you guys will be able to see that done. Gonna go in here, clean that up. Okay, all right. So everything's going good. It does take time doing this. You don't want to just remove these and plunk them on and say that's good. You want to do a really good job. And with me, I want my Xbox to be absolutely perfect. So that was a nice removal of the thermal pad. I didn't leave any of the thermal pad behind. So using my knife, I'm looking at it. There. Beautiful. Now I can just give it a bit of a spread there. A little bit of a spread. Like so. So when we put down our we have one right here where we have a little bit of extra thermal pad that this up a little bit and just gently touch it, and there we go, we're good. So I'm just making sure everything's perfect. We're almost done the first little half of our VRAM thermal pads here. gently. If you must and you have to. If it's leaning over the RAM just a little too much, where it'll drown out the video RAM, you want to just rebuild the thermal pad a little bit and then repress it. And after you repress it enough times, it'll just go to eventually when your system heats up and cools down, these thermal pads will reform themselves. So, I mean, honestly, it's not really going to hurt the, being super careful here, just getting the extra thermal pad that we don't want on our heat sink here. I want to get that all cleaned up so it does a really good heat transfer. Okay. So I'm just cleaning off our thermal paste off of our, or not thermal paste, sorry, thermal pad residue that was on the chip. Wrong. I keep calling it the wrong thing by mistake. Off the vapor chamber heatsink, liquid vapor chamber. There we go. That looks pretty good. Yeah, it's beautiful. Alright, so then I want to flip our heatsink around. I want to flip our board around to a different position, like that. And then I can continue with our thermal pads. Cool. So let's continue with getting these thermal pads off of here as much as possible. Now, don't panic if you cut some of the thermal pad, okay? It's not the end of the world. It presses down and it still works 100%. And I'm going to call that perfectly good. Very gently. I don't want to hurt my heat sink in any way. So I'm being very careful not to scratch it. Get this excess residue from our thermal pad off of there. And then I put it on our next one. Alright. And if you're wondering if the VRAM actually needs these thermal pads, they actually do, because what the thermal pad's doing is connecting to our heatsink, allowing the heat from the RAM to transfer to the heatsink so it doesn't, the VRAM doesn't overheat. Because the dreaded Xbox 360 3-red ring of death was from that exact idea. Thermal pads weren't transferring the heat to the case of the Xbox 360, which then was causing them to become faulty, which is then causing a dreaded 3-red ring of death issue with the 360s. Sure as heck glad that not too many of those are coming to me for repairs, because the reason for that is you have to, reball the video RAM, and it's very hard to do. The solder balls underneath those are so small, almost microscopic, that tiny. Ooh, I like that. That one came off really nicely. Okay. So. I'm just trying to position it just right on there. Okay. So we can just spread it just a tiny little bit, and we don't have to spread it too far over our RAM. Worked really nicely. I like it when things go so easy, and you don't have to really pretty much. This system is supposedly the Xbox One for now until 2020 is the powerfulest Xbox in the world. But when they're overheating like this and having these issues, well, they're not so powerful. So that's why you want to take your time and fix whatever's needs to fixing. Okay. Okie doke. So I'm just going to continue here. We got one more on this side, then we got to flip the board one more time, and then we can start with our so a little bit of the thermal pad came off there, but that doesn't hurt nothing. Oops. It's all good. I might be off camera for a few seconds. There we go. We're all good. I got it. See? It's all good. It's on my finger. Nothing got hurt. Everything's all beautiful. I can see I can just go like that. Reform it. Oh, example, lift that up gently. So, trying to very gently lift up the thermal padding and reform it into place. Come on. Sometimes you can have a little bit of a difficulty with thermal padding. Just keep up the hard work and you'll get it eventually. We should only have enough thermal pad to just cover our VRAM. Shouldn't have to cover everything. Okay, so that'll be fine. We got that all handled. I don't know why there has to be such thick, so much thick thermal pad on our VRAM, but it's there. I think Microsoft is just a little bit overdoing it on the thermal pads for the VRAM. Just a little bit. They could have went a little bit thinner. I'm going to actually use my microfiber now. And I'm going to just polish this portion of our vapor chamber right up. So I guess what their idea was is just set them on, and when it presses up against them it spreads, but honestly, we got another 4 thermal pads put on, then we are in business and we can start, honestly what those thermal pads should have done is you fit them to the RAM so perfectly, and then just cut them out to the right perfectness. And then everything fits down. You get good on this bead one that they put on there, but thermal pads for the VRAM is just a tiny bit overkill. To me at least, it's a little bit overkill. They didn't need that much thermal pad. The board can be set down. Actually, we can bring this back over here. We can bring this up forward just a little more. There. Perfect. Okay, so we got 4 more to do, and then we can get to work on removing this disgusting, the worst looking CPU grease I've ever seen for CPUs, for the APU. So that worked out really well. So what I'm going to try and do line it up. I'm going to try position it enough where we this is my first time opening one of these, so I'm not making a mess of the thermal pads, but I would really like them to be a perfect fit, and I think they're perfectly fine the way they are now that I have them placed on there. But Microsoft's next console they make, they should try not to use as much thermal pad for the VRAM, because they're using just a little shade too much for the VRAM here. Okay. Now that's not going to overload at all. Very, very carefully getting rid of our extra. I'm treating this vapor chamber as delicately as I possibly can, so nothing gets scratched or damaged or hurt or anything like that. I can always get my own thermal pads for the VRAM. That'll be perfect down the road, but for now these ones will do. These ones will work. So we have 2 more thermal pads put on, then I can get rid of this annoying thermal grease that they've used for the APU. not thrilled with how thick these thermal pads are. I'm not impressed with that. I'm not very happy to see how thick these things are, because if it's going to transfer the heat, you don't want it that thick. You want as little amount as possible for the thermal pads, and there's way too much thermal pad. So it'll work, but in the future, I'm going to want to replace those thermal pads with new ones that are thinner and aren't going to be as thick of thermal pads. Okay, just, I'm just cleaning up the existing residue that's on the vapor chamber. We got one more, and then I can start cleaning off the vapor chambers where the thermal compound is, and I'll show you the thermal compound once again that's on there. It's really not good. I don't know why they would add such thick thermal pads to a console like this that doesn't need that. I'll show you what I'm talking about in a few here. So, I'll put this away because we're not going to use the knife no more, because we're not using the knife on the actual board or on the vapor chamber anymore, because it's not required for this next bit of the job. Alright, so get this out of the way, pick up our vapor chamber, and where's the Q-tip? Something that's caught my eye. Yeah, that's not supposed to be there. I'm just going to get rid of a few things here before showing you guys this. It's caught my eye. Just a little bit of, it's not dust, but it's nice. Okay. There, I got that somewhere I like it. So, this is our CPU grease, all hardened, no moisture, it's all dry right out. If I rub it like that and it's moisture, my whole finger would have grease on it. See how I'm rubbing it and there's no grease on my finger? That's not good. So this is a vapor chamber. I'll give you a real close-up on it. You can see the different portions where the liquid is. Now I want to do something. Yeah, when it's vacuum sealed, it won't slush around like that. It needs to be heated up first, and then you'll hear the bubbling of the distilled water that's in here. When it gets hot, or hot enough, it'll turn to steam, which then transfers the heat to this ventilation system here, this aluminum ventilation system. The fan blows that out, cools it down. Once it's cooled down enough, turns back to the liquid water, just to regular water again, and then reheats up and steams. Okay, so time to get some, matter of fact, I'm going to put my cables for the Blu-ray 4K drive out of the way. I'm going to clean our really horrible, rock solid hard grease. That is just horrible, you guys. It's really something that's not good. Now, if you wanted to use liquid metal, go for it. You can if you want. Just a warning, that gets on any of the transistors on the board or on the APU, your console's done. That's a non-fixable thing once that happens. You pretty much will have to buy a brand new Xbox after that, unless you can find a way how to clean that off, but I doubt it that it can be cleaned off because it's a actual metal, and once it's on there, it's on there. Like, yeah, that's crusty and it's a solid, so I'm just using my Q-tip to get all that off my my vapor chamber. Oh man, that is just not good. Okay, I want to bring this back, my real nice microfiber cloth, because then I can clean it up in here. And I'm just very well cleaning the vapor chamber where the new grease is going in, which is TG7, and that's going to allow me to apply the perfect amount to the core mirror. Beautiful. Alright, let me show you guys what it looks like now from before. All nice and clean, all shiny, ready to roll. So this system's going to run really quiet after I'm done, okay? It's going to run quiet, it's going to run faster. It's going to actually transfer our heat from the board to the actual heat sink without having issues. So, okay, this is the part where you got to be careful. Did they get actual, oh, yeah, they did. Okay, so there's actual, I hope that's not harming this board. We got some, that's right on one of the transistors. Do I have a light bristle toothbrush. Trying to get that out of there. It's on there so solid that even a light bristle toothbrush isn't cutting the deal. Uh-oh. Oh, I got it. I got it off. Question is, can I clean this little transistor that it's on? Yeah, that looks good. I'm gonna get a new Q-tip and then just give it one more cleaning. Okay. And then I'm gonna push off some of this crusted, dried out grease. That's not even considered CPU grease anymore because it's just a cement. CPU grease, oh. So they got some of this. This is exactly why they're overheating and having problems. Good job, Microsoft, with putting the worst grease in and getting it all over the transistors of the APU. That's not a good idea to do that. So I use a light bristle toothbrush and try to clean out all this disgusting grease that got all over these poor. I'm pretty sure I can get it perfect, and then once it's perfect, then the new grease with TG7 then can be put in place. I'm seeing it all over the transistors. Where'd that go? There it is. Drop that on the other grease. Yep, all over our transistors right there. See, this would have overheated right away if I would have plugged it in, and I would have had a defective, fully defective Xbox One X. Because I'm doing this treatment right now, it is not going to be defective after I'm done. It's going to be 100% working, and it's going to stay working. Unless the APU solder ball somehow disconnect in any kind of way. I don't know why they couldn't just go out of their way to use proper CPU grease and treat their customers with proper respect. You know, I feel sorry for the people that are going to buy systems like this for like Christmas presents for their kids, because they're going to not know that this system has this real horrible kind of grease that's dried right out, and they're going to be buying an overheating Xbox right out of the brand new out of the packaging. Oh man, come on. I'm really trying, you guys. I'm really trying to get rid of that grease that's on those transistors. And I'm getting it slowly. I'm being gentle with our it is actually coming. It's looking a lot better than it did. This Xbox One's gonna work very beautifully after I'm done. So there is that odd one out there though that you unbox, and you may luck out for like a good half a year before it burns out. But that's that odd one. Most of them are overheating nearly right away. Right there I can still see. It's a lot better, but I can still see. CPU grease on the little transistors. There's 15,000 transistors around the APU. It doesn't look like that many, but there is. Every single tiny, on one transistor, every single tiny little solder point on each side, one of those on both sides together, one of those is one transistor. So there's several transistors in one of those transistors, if you know what I mean. I'll show you what I'm talking about after I'm done cleaning this right up, so you can see what I'm talking about. Oops, sorry about that. The computer monitor is shaking, the phone will fall down if it shakes too much. Microsoft, you need to stop using the cheapest and worst CPU grease. You're really screwing over your customers. Oh man. The Xbox One S, very good system. The X, well, good build and everything, shitty CPU grease. So of course we're going to have all these issues with the consoles because you have the worst CPU grease that you can possibly use on the console. So after my job of fixing it, and cleaning all this crap grease off. This thing's going to run really, really quiet, even while gameplay, and run really smooth and fast, without any kind of problems whatsoever. Okay, let's get the core mirror all shined up for thermal heat transfercation, because if it doesn't clean enough, the new grease will not work. There's still old grease on here, so like this is, when it gets real bad, this is probably as worse as it's gonna get. It is dry. So I'm just, oh man, this one took a number, man. This one really, they really did. Yeah, I'm gonna have to use IPA on this. That's how bad it is right here. It will turn on, but probably not for long if I can't get all this grease on there, and there's still grease on there, and most of the time that grease is easy to wipe off. It's not with this procedure. It's very hard to get off here so far. But using this 99% IPA, I'm pretty sure it's going to come right off without a problem. Oh yeah, that's coming off now. You want to very gently rub on the core mirror, disinfectant all of the core mirror, make it all good and healthy so it can transfer the heat with the new grease. Okay, that's as good as it's going to get, and it looks pretty good to me. I can see my reflection in the mirror. That's what we want to see. If we don't see that reflection, that means it's not clean enough, and it is more than clean enough. Our APU looks good as new. So remember before how I showed you guys? Remember how that core mirror was real horrible? Check out that nice shine to it. Okay, if I can get this close enough. Can you guys see that on camera at all? See these little transistors? Just one of those transistors has, I'll have a close look at it with a magnifying glass and I can tell you guys. One, two, three, four. 4 transistors and one single transistor. So there's 4 per transistor. Okay? And we have quite a few. Matter of fact, there's enough on there where I can't even count them. So, yeah. Okay, so now that we got this far, everything's all clean, it's looking good. All those ridiculously thick thermal pads that Microsoft decided to use are all in place and ready to roll. So, okay, here we go. So, I'm ready to put our new grease on. Some TG7. Remember how I said this is supposed to be a liquid? Let's see if I can get a handful of this. That's the old grease. I can literally hold it. I shouldn't be able to do that. It should be all over my fingers, and it's not. My fingers are nice and clean. It's all a nice crusty solid. It's so bad that I can't even bunch it up into a ball. That's how dried out that is. Wow. So, CPU grease. My favorite stuff. TG7 silver grease. I'll show you how much that I like to use to transfer compound in here. So that one tube is, let's see if I can find the grams. This is 10 grams right here. And with 10 grams of this, that should be able to fix, at least for Xbox One X's and the S models, should be able to fix at least 20 systems with that one tube. So that's how much grease I use on there. You guys see that? That's all I use. No more than that. Any more than that, you're not going to get the proper heat transfer. So I like to hold this with my hand, and I just like to use my finger. It's not dangerous to get this stuff on your finger. You just want to be careful not to cause this silver grease to get all over the little transistors, because this stuff, it's not conductive unless you get a bunch of it on the chips, and then I'm very certain then it will become conductive and cause problems. But if it's like a little tiny drop of this that gets on the transistors, like a little tiny like speck, you're not going to short the shit out of the APU. Okay? Okay. And I will show you right now, as soon as I clean off my finger, make sure that there's no grease from that may have gone on my hand in any way. Okay, I will clean. I'm going to show you how much grease you should be using. Unlike Microsoft overkilling it and putting grease in that dries out instantly. So you have to buy another Xbox. That is how much grease you should be using. That will not get onto those components. See how little amount of grease I use? Just enough to cover our core mirror where we can't see any of the reflection or any of the glass. That's all you need, you guys. That's it. No more than what's right there. And it's all a liquid too. It's a nice liquid. So that is going to beautifully transfer the heat from the APU to our liquid cooled vapor chamber, which is right here. And this is very heavy. This right here is probably 6 pounds or something like that. It's nice and heavy. And I like how it's heavy like that. That's telling me how high quality this heatsink is. And it's like, when we talk about high quality, this is top notch. So I'm just thinking that she goes like that. Oh yeah. When I tilt it like that, I heard the liquid go down like that. I could hear it slush a little bit. There's definite liquid in there. Definite, I just want to make sure I get this 100% correct. This is on the outside. Okay, certain it goes. Four. Yeah, I had it the right way. Yeah, you just have to look at the palm of your heatsink. So those there, these here. Yeah, this is the correct way. I have it right now. But I want to hold it the correct way when I put it on. I want to hold it nicely so I don't. I'm very gentle with our fins here. For ventilation, I can do it without harming. I'm just eyeballing our holes there. First time and it's in. So what we want to do is not let that flop around. So I'm holding it by hand here. There. And now, where did I put, oh there it is. Just looking for this X clamp. So I'm going to put that on. We're going to put this in the metal chassis next. Screw this all together. Put it together. And then this video will be close to being wrapped up once it's all built. There'll be other videos where they test out the systems and do like the thermometer, like digital thermometer, where they show you how hot the system gets before and how hot the system gets after. Just making sure our heatsink is on there very good. I always test the X clamp to make certain that when I click down on our X clamp here, we don't have one of the claws. That was nice and solid. Okay, we don't have one of the claws have issues. I'm looking at our thermal pads, and there is an actual reason. Okay, so there's a reason why they're so thick. I see what it is now. They're so thick because of the gap between our heatsink pretty sure that won't hurt nothing. Yeah, that won't harm nothing. I'm definitely guaranteeing you guys gonna get upgraded version. Where did I put that cloth? There it is. An upgraded version thermal pad for each of the RAM chips. I'm going to clean off our south bridge and see what that's called. And also, so it has a fresh surface for the thermal pad. So let's put back on. So yeah, don't press down the thermal pads that go around the APU when you put it on, because they are supposed to be that thickness. They're not supposed to cover the video RAM entirely. It's okay, it's not going to harm nothing the way I have it now. This is my very first time opening and doing this for the Xbox One X. So now I'm going to flip this around and have a look. Xbox One PSP, yep, video sound card, system NAND, which is system memory on board. Cool. So the chip I was talking about is system memory, south bridge. So anyway, set this down. So yeah, keep that in mind, you guys. If you're dismantling your Xbox One X to do this thermal, the thermal pads that go around for the VRAM, don't press those thermal pads back. Don't press them down, just set them nicely in place and don't press them down, because what that's doing is that's connecting to the vapor chamber, and if you press it down then it won't quite touch the vapor chamber. But I'm sure as it heats up they'll reform to the right perfect position. But I will be replacing those thermal pads down the road with some really good stuff, so we can get a faster result out of the console. Alright. So, now, it is building time, so I need our chassis. So we need part number 1. So here's part number 1, here's our chassis. The first part of the chassis at least. Okay, so we got this chassis that we're going to set down. Take our board. Okay, I'm going to slowly turn it around because I don't want to warp the board. Okay, now we can gently set this in place right where that thermal pad is for the south bridge. Really nice and easily set that in place. Everything should really easily, without any force, just really nicely set in place. Just like that. Whoops. Sorry about that, guys. Phone kind of dropped there. Sorry about that. Just give me a second here. There we go. I'll the phone just right. There we go. Back up just a little more so you can see me. Yeah, that's what happens when my phone vibrates and gets a notification. It'll fall over like that because it's braced up on my computer monitor. So sorry about that. Try to ignore that part of the video. Alright, so anyway, hopefully I don't get too many more notifications, because that's what's going to happen. It's going to fall again. So there it is back in. So I'm going to do, whoop. See, that's one thing to watch out for. It was in there so loosely. I'm going to put it back into place here. I'm going to keep my hands on it, holding it, because I don't want the board to drop out like that again. That was a close call. Okay, so I need my T8-bit driver and our heat sink screws, and I'm going to put this together nice and closely and nice and carefully. And then after that, it's okay to have it loosely like that, without, because our heatsink will hold the board in from, so it won't fall out. So again, don't over tighten the screws. You just need them in there enough where they're gonna nicely hold everything. So now that's going to just be holding the stuff in, so I can set this down, and I can finish putting these 2 screws in. Then we can put some of the board screws in, and then we can finish putting all the electronics in, put the 2 screws in, and start working on the getting my Xbox One X 100% reassembled. So I'm expecting this thing to be super fast, run real smoothly, and have no problems. Even with the way those thermal pads are, everything's going to be fine. Nothing's going to overheat, nothing's going to have problems. Alright, so I'm looking at our board. Oh, and we want to save the RF module and wireless card, putting that in to last. It's another thing to note. We definitely want to put in our board screws so our board doesn't get warped in the process. Those ones do need to be not super tight, but tight enough to keep everything really good in place. Okay. Pretty sure there's another one for me to thread in here. Just need to have a look up in here. Okay, no. Everything else has to go back together before that happens. Okay, so we'll flip it over. And our next job is to get our upper portion, and we're going to start. I'm going to take my box here that everything came in. I'm going to close it up. I'm going to flip it downwards, and I can set some of my parts onto that cardboard box, so I don't have to keep getting up every 2 seconds to grab something. So our upper portion of the chassis, our bottom of our console, and there, and our upper portion of our Xbox One. And here's our next part here, but before we continue with this, we are going to be putting all the other parts in now. So I can gently upside down this and set it on the bottom case, very gently. Okay. All right, so our fan is first. Or is it? No, our fan and power supply are first. Gotta remember, this connector piece kind of goes in first, and then our fan goes on top. So okay, trying to position my fan here in my hand. Okay, this needs to be straightened up. Oh my goodness. They weren't kidding when it can be a pain putting the power supply back into the console. It really is. Especially if it doesn't line up where you need it. Okay, come on. Now we just need to make certain that our power supply is gonna this is a bit of fun. I see why they're saying that our fan can be, with the heatsink, can be a bit of a troublemaker. It definitely is a bit of that. Okay, where's that little screwdriver? Is it all? Yeah, that's. Okay, so now plug in my fan to the Xbox One, plug in our SATA cable to the Xbox One X. So I'm plugging that in once I figure that, oh, right, the gray one goes to the Xbox One motherboard. Click that in. And this one goes to the board, and this one goes to the drive. Okay, that's all good. Looks pretty good to me. That's all plugged in. Okay, so now line up our power supply, plug it all in, put this down like that. Okay, next is our Blu-ray drive, or no, sorry, next is our hard drive. My bad, my apology. So hard disk gets plugged in. The SATA connector gets plugged in. Okay, so that's all plugged in there. Then I just need to line up my hard disk with the connections where it connects down. All that's in nicely. Make sure I don't put pressure on the top of the hard drive because that will kill the hard drive and then my system will never work. So I'm making sure I do everything really well and nicely and correctly. So then I put this sideways because it's easier for me to see our power and SATA for our optical drive. Ooh. Right, it goes this way. I was kind of wondering, I'm like, something doesn't seem right. The drive goes upside down in this version of the Xbox. Come on. There we go. Everything's in. So make sure that okay, this is going to be a little shade bit annoying. Lift up our drive a bit, or our power supply, because what's happening here is just looking at okay, I want to swap that around here. So what I'm looking at is the power for the optical drive. Come on. Lift up. Unplug. Come on. Why isn't it being nice to me? Come on. There we go. Finally got it. Okay. Try it the other way. Really easily if I line it up here. So it's saying to me, okay, so I got that plugged in. What this drive is trying to tell me, yeah, no, I had it the right way. That's really weird. It's saying that, so had it the right way, but it's saying you have to route my cord correctly, which I don't blame it, but with our, sometimes it can be a pain plugging this stuff in, and other times it can be real nice. I'm going to unplug our board, SATA cable on the board. I'm going to try a trick that I think is what has to happen here. That doesn't seem right. I'm pretty sure from when I took it apart first, that goes in like this. Yeah, and then it goes in here, right? Is that correct? Okay, so let's put this back down. Okay. Okay, all right. Finally, you guys, I got it. It just took some time, some effort. I got it all together. Whew, that was some fun. There. I'm just putting this foam thing back down. It's adhesive on. Oh, that's incorrectly. It's lining up. Yep, we're good there. Yeah, that's fine. I'm just gonna get a flat head and just make sure that that's in there 100%. Yeah, that's in there correctly. We're good. All right, so now our next job is putting our upper cover back on. Just check everything once again, make sure it's all correct. Which is, and if it really is in there correct, this should all really nicely, without any force, just really easily. I'm just gotta make sure this front piece here, see, that's what happens, is the front piece will go down before the bottom one does, and the bottom back piece needs to go down first. There we go. Now we can push all that in. Whatever wants to go in. And now that that's on there, all it should take, I'm looking at this side and I'm not very comfortable with the way this side is acting. It's acting almost as if this plug-in isn't right, but it is. Maybe that's just the way it is, you guys. Alright. So let's, if it is the right way it's supposed to, these screws will go in nice and easy. No problem, man. That screws in. How about this screw? This is our fan screw. I had to put the screw in, that's what it was. Ha! I got it, you guys. So now that we got that far, now it's time for me to connect a wireless card. I can set it right on my side. Grab my wireless networking card nice and gently. Very easily. Just Put it in. Okay. Let's have a look at our pattern. Oh, I know the trick. That goes underneath, then it plugs in. Okay. Try it again. Ah, there's the trick. Ha! Figured it out, you guys. I'm excited to fire this thing up and use it, because then I'll be able to test. I only got 2 hours of gameplay out of my last one that I returned, and then it died, and that was it. It didn't work at all after that. All it would do is for a while it would work with Netflix and YouTube, that's it. And then eventually it just didn't even work for that. So that CPU grease that I showed you, that's exactly why. It was all dried out and crusty. Okay. So it's not good, you guys. Not good whatsoever. So it does, with this wireless card and the RF module on the outside like that, and the way they design it, is so nothing would be interfered with the cards, and they would all work nice and smoothly, and a lot faster. So that's all in for our wireless card. So now putting it on its back and its ass end, as lots of people put it, which is going to plug that in just like a USB cable. Just going to make sure it's lined up. And it'll plug in nice and easily. That's perfect. Okay, so we got our 3 cables here. Okey doke. That. All right. Just screwing in our screws right now. If you're wondering what I'm doing, I'm just putting in the screws. And these things have amazing, amazing readers for a Blu-ray, 4K Blu-ray drive. I had a disc that it wouldn't play even in the Xbox One S, and it was like National Treasure 2. And it had rings burnt around it, it didn't work whatsoever, wouldn't play. I put in the Xbox One X when it would accept Blu-ray movies and play them without overheating, played through the whole movie without a problem. So I have to hand it down to Microsoft for making a great Blu-ray drive. So there's the RF module. So now we can grab this, grab our bottom, this is our back. Bring it front-wise. Hey, you can feel it shifting around trying to, our little USB cable is trying to cause problems, but I won't let it. Okay, so, put my hand on here like this. It can be a pain trying to get, okay, I'm gonna pick this thing off and do this. Come on. Okay. Are you gonna be nice to me and go in completely? Okay, just give me a sec, you guys. I want to make sure this is in perfect alignment. Honestly, in my opinion. Looks pretty good. Want to screw it together, I'll press down on here. Or drive. Yep, everything's good. We are gold. I'll put this more on here so it's more gentler spot. I'll put this underneath here. I'm telling you right now, this little ribbon cable is trying to be a pest. Come on. But I can make it still, even if it's going to be a pest with me, I can make it still work. Come on already. Come on. Quit trying to turn sideways on me as I'm trying to push you in. But you're really picking on me. Come on. Oh, I had it and then it keeps twisting sideways on me. I'm gonna have to pull this back underneath. Push it like that. And come on. Get underneath there. This is the part that's the hard part, is getting this little tiny, very fine ribbon connector back into its socket. I can get underneath it enough. That's it right there. I could just get underneath it when it's use a bigger flat head so we don't harm nothing. Come on. I don't know if that's actually in or, yeah, I was in. It's kind of weird because I can still see some of the little copper, or some of the little it almost looks like almost like you can push it in farther. But if I look at it real closely, it doesn't go any farther than where it is. So let's just do that. Leave that alone now. That's good enough. It will connect. Our little sync and HR sensor and all the other buttons will work, which is where that one connector is going to. We got our connector here for our USB. So let's get this Xbox. Let's do it right there. Let's get this Xbox together, and then I'm gonna off camera start putting my stuff on it. So this is fully rebuilt with my kind of build idea. Those thermal pads for the VRAM will be replaced with my real good stuff. Real high-tech thermal pads that actually transfer heat correctly. And we'll go from there. Alright, so I'm getting our T10 little mini screws. Looking around through the body of the console, what is the shorter T10 screws and which ones are the bigger ones. If you look real carefully, sometimes you just have to test the holes to see which ones are actually oops, one dropped in. So what's supposed to be magnetic screwdriver is kind of I have a couple here. I remember these being these kind of screws. So now I should be left with 4 for a hard drive and 1 more for our console around on the board. And so I gotta find out where, so I know I put those 2 on the other side. There she is, right here. That's our PCU power supply. Screw that down. Alright, the rest of these ones, they're in my hand, these little brass, shorter brass screws. They go for a hard disk now. There's one hard disk screw mount. Another one here. I'll try to put it on the other side here. Which will also help bring up the one side. Yeah, this side right here. Hopefully that works. So. So hard drive screws, all those little brass ones. These black ones here are our case screw, or our top cover screws for where the back of the system is for the warranty, which was never there due to how bad Microsoft is with replacing consoles for their customers with actual either brand new, if it's a new console you send them, they should be sending you a new console. If it's a refurbished console you are sending them, then it should be a refurbished console that you get back. Or, better yet, your same system. But Microsoft doesn't do that. So, I'd rather do what I just did here. This is my first time opening the Xbox One X, so I have to hand it down to Microsoft. They did quite a few good jobs, except for when I reached up to our CPU grease. That was 100% dried out, crusty, and cement. So this thing's gonna run really smoothly now. We're gonna put all our screws in. I'll put our top on. I'm gonna double check that we got all our screws nice and tight. Well, not super tight, but make sure they're all in. Yeah, we're all good. Everything's in place. So only other two screws is our upper case screws, which is, here's the upper case. Now there's a trick to get this upper case on. So our little rails, those in the front here, there's a trick to get this on, but I want to do it my old school way, which is pretty much bring it over and see if we can, yeah, no, it won't allow it. So put this over here. This should, nice and easily, without too much force, come up and go right over, just like so. We want the rails to go on the inside portion of our clips, not the outside portion, the inside. So I'm pushing in here, trying to get our clips in the inside. Nice and gently, because I don't want to deform the plastic or harm my console. Okay, there's one side. Okay, so our reverse side we have an issue on our one side here. This side we're having a problem. What it is, it's tucked over top instead of underneath. So come on. lift up. There we go. That was a good sound, by the way, you guys. Okay, so our wireless card. So this side is our first side, and then the other one tucks in. So let's lift up our side here. Okay, so I see the trick. I understand. Oh boy, trouble occurs with game systems, upper covers, not wanting to lift up on the one side. Hey, come on, there we go, finally, all right. So now, what I want to do is I want to be able to see what I'm doing. Okay, so side number 1 is in. Now carefully put in inwards. Yay! Okay. Here's some of that annoying, where's that light bristle? That foam from the side things that go on the sides. There's a bit of foam on there. There we go. It's done, you guys. Back together. So now all I gotta do is give it a bit of a push like that. And it's time for me to screw in our security screws. And this console has been all set up to now be able to transfer its heat correctly. And well, worked very smoothly. So I'm happy with this repair job. Now I know though that those pads just get for the VRAM 12 1 gigabit 12 1 gigabit RAM modules. The pads that go on there just set on. You don't press them and smear them, or press them and space them to the exact over the whole RAM chip, because that's what the heatsink does when it presses down just right. You're not supposed to like, so anyway, it'll be fine. It's all good. So our little warranty seal that I took off, I'm just going to put it back there because it just makes the console look happier if it'll go back on. It just looks better when it has the warranty seal somewhat still there. Okay, I'll show you every placed back into place now. Here's that warranty seal back in, looking almost like it was before I opened it up. So now we can get this out of here. I always have my Xbox One X's like this, standing up. I never put them flat because flat they can overheat easier. So there's one repair video complete. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and we'll see you in the next video.